How's it going, all of you beautiful people around the world? My name is Ryan, aka Blackbeard TCG, and today I want to talk to you guys about Kinemon. Yes, Kinemon has a leader in set 2, which is supposed to be the Paramount War arc, aka Marineford, aka Impel Down, and you know, that whole saga. But we have Kinemon, who's a character that hasn't even been revealed at that point of the story. Anyways, we're getting him in this set. It's completely fine. I'm just a little bit salty because I was thinking Blackbeard was going to get revealed as the next leader. I'm still hoping that we are getting Blackbeard in this set. I mean, it's crazy if we don't get Blackbeard in this set. But anyways, let's talk about Kinemon. This is why you guys clicked on this video, right? So first off, let's talk about his effect, and then let me talk to you guys about what my thoughts are on Kinemon. Now, his ability, and shoutouts to Rusty Marrow, of course, always gotta give shouts to Rusty Marrow because of the translation. Without Rusty Marrow, I'd have no clue what this says because I cannot read Japanese. Okay, so tags are Wano Country and 9 red scabbards, as you would expect with Slash, again, as you would expect. And his ability is, during your main phase, once per turn, if you control 1 or less characters, so as long as you have 0 characters on your board or 1 character on your board, you can reduce the cost of your next character if it is a cost of 3 or higher by 1. So, very, very interesting. I think that right off the bat, this is a really, really good leader. And let's just talk about a couple things. I'm thinking of Kinemon as a character that would ideally want, or a leader rather, I don't want to say character because that's a whole card, but he's a leader in the sense of you ideally want to go second. Why would you want to go second? Well, obviously if you go second, you have access to that extra Dawn, kind of like purple. You know, if you're playing Kaido, you ideally want to go second, right? With this leader, I feel like you obviously would want to go second because the appeal of his effect being live as early as your first turn is so strong and amazing, right? Like, let's create the scenario where it's your first turn, you're going second, you start with 2 Dawn. His ability is automatically active because you have 0 characters on your board. Now, let's say you have Okiku in hand, who, oh, by the way, is a 3 cost with a power of 5,000 that has one of the best effects in the game in the format right now. Of course, that may change. It has a tag Wano and 9 scabbards, so you don't have to worry about that. Where if you attach 1 Dawn, you can go ahead and rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. And, oh, by the way, you're on your first turn. It's very, very early. So by the time you're swinging, whatever your opponent has on their board is definitely going to be a cost of 5 or less, meaning that automatically you can start to get board control. I think that that is very, very strong. You also have a card like Yamato, who, in my opinion, I was going to collect this card anyways because Yamato is one of my favorite characters in the series as well. And the art is absolutely beautiful and stunning and amazing. But now you have a card like Yamato who can be played as early as turn 2. We're talking about a 5-drop that will now become a 4-drop if you go second. Obviously, you'll be able to play that on your second turn because at that point, you would only have your Okiku on board. And again, you can use his ability as long as you have 1 or less, right? It's 1 or less. So if you have your Okiku on board, your leader for Kinemon effect is still live. So you can go ahead and drop a 5-drop Yamato on your second turn that now has double attack and banish. I mean, sure, these aren't the most broken cards in the game, but they're some of the more powerful cards in the game. And being able to bring them out earlier in the game when your opponent doesn't really have the tools to deal with them that early is something that's really strong, right? You have the aspect of board control with Okiku, but what if you want to play a little bit more aggressive with Yamato on board and have the ability to double attack and make your opponent use resources to try their hardest to block her, because if not, they're taking 2 damage very early on. I mean, Kinemon has so much future potential because when you look at the cards in Wano, there's already some pretty decent ones, right? You have things like Cat Viper, who's been seeing some play. You obviously have Momonosuke, who's the searcher for the deck, so you automatically have synergy and consistency in that aspect. You have a 2K counter in Izo, right? So you do have some key cards, but there's still a lot of things missing, right? We would like to see some more 2K counters. Of course, obviously you're playing green, so you do have access to other things, but if you're playing specifically more of a Wano-based deck, you know, you would like to see maybe another Wano card that has a 2K counter. Maybe you would like to see something that allows you to scale more into the mid and late game. Because I feel like right now, if you were to play Kinemon, what is going to be your end game strategy, your late game strategy? There are some other cards that are in green that are Wano, but those are more so for Odin, right? You have the Kinemon actual character card, whose effect is basically revolving around Odin itself because it's one of the conditions. You have Denjiro as well, who seems to be a heavy hitter with 7,000 power as a 5-drop, but again, you need to have a Odin as your leader. So a lot of these other heavy hitting cards in the mid game that do have the Wano or 9 Scabbards tag, you're not really able to use them with this. So it automatically makes me think, okay, are we going to be getting more Wano County cards or Wano Country cards in this set that's not just Kinemon focused? And what is that going to look like towards the mid to late game? Because it definitely seems like the early game is taken care of with cards like Okiku and Yamato, as I mentioned previously. But again, there isn't really anything to really help you towards that mid to late game. And what does that playstyle look like, right? Are we going to be trying to continue to rest our opponent's cards because we have things like the Okiko, the Izo, and some of the other event cards that Green has access to in the Wano package? Or is it going to take a little bit of a slightly different approach? Because obviously there isn't really that type of built-in effect that really makes Kinemon have to play a specific way. I don't know, it's interesting, but overall, I think that he has a ton of potential because as long as Green continues to get stronger, I think that Kinemon will always be stronger because at the end of the day, the biggest thing with Kinemon is that it has to be a Wano Country card, right? So it depends on how many more Wano Country cards we're going to get in future sets. Are we going to get more in set 2? Are we going to get more in set 3? And what do those cards look like? But basically, as long as those cards come out, that will always be a threat. And if there's surrounding cards that support the playstyle that Kinemon will ultimately have later on, right? Maybe he's a little bit more aggro, maybe he's a little bit more control, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a Wano card just for him to get his effect off of. Maybe it's an event card. Maybe there's a stage card where he can utilize that as well. As long as Green gets stronger, there's always a world where Kinemon can also get stronger. So overall, I think that this is a really interesting leader. I think that this is really fun and really cool. And I'm super excited to see what else Green is going to get in set 2 and see how many more Wano cards we're going to get in the Paramount Summit War arc, which obviously none of these characters have been in the anime at this point. But it'll be interesting to see what we end up getting and how exactly that's going to fit with Kinemon's late game playstyle. What do you guys think about Kinemon? Do you guys think that he's interesting? On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say his power level is? Are you excited to see more Wano cards potentially in set 2, or are you kind of disappointed initially like I am? I'm very curious. Is there something that I missed? Is there something that's very glaring, obvious that he has access to right now that also makes him very powerful? I don't know. Which is why I love my community in this YouTube channel, because I can talk to you guys and you guys can let me know as well. Overall, I'm super excited to see where this goes, and outside of that, please, 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 can the next reveal be Blackbeard? And oh my gosh, I'd be so sad if it's just a Blackbeard character card. But hey, even if it is, whatever color it is, I'll definitely keep playing it. Obviously, we have Marshall D. Teach in blue, but regardless, guys, let me know your thoughts on Kinemon down below in the comment section. Make sure to like, share this video with a friend, subscribe, and most importantly, if you guys don't do that, you better watch out because I'm gonna yoink your devil fruit. I'm sorry, it is what it is. It's Blackbeard TCG. Your devil's fruit is getting snatched. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share with a friend. And I'm out. Peace.